you want something different. And same goes for mobile when it's much more browse, find, and search. So each of our pieces of technology all come together. So here's a sample that you can kind of see here. Our initial is live chat, and you get to work with a dedicated stylist. And you're able to merchandise in real time on screen and have a conversation and carry that conversation across every device, across every location, across all of the brands that you shop with. This is really the key, is who are you, right? Every time we go into a store, you might know somebody, but when it comes to being online, your identity is very masked. And typically, if you want to share who you are to get better service, we don't really even have that option. So we're allowing the option for you to work with the stylist. And, no, can you go back one more, please? No, the other one. Go, no, the other way. Perfect. So here you have this live workspace where you're going to be able to have stylists for the brand, and they're going to be able to start managing their recommendations. And we have some great AI that's coming in as a relationship. AI that's going to help the stylist scale their reach. So they're able to reach more people and share their talents and really enable the people who are in store just to do a better job. We don't have a lot of performance tools when it comes to the industry, and I don't feel that the luxury brands and premium brands, they don't have software to manage a direct-to-consumer business. Every piece of software is really driven for a wholesale business. So we've been getting some people really excited to start using this for buying, customer success, managing the e-commerce, as well as merchandise planning and assortment planning, because they'd have new insights into who are their top shoppers, who are their emerging shoppers, what are some of the top sellers across those consumers, and everything is visualized in images, so helps us. No, that's good. No, it's good. You can just go to the Zoom. No, it's fine. It's the wrong time. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need any of them. So,
all right. Thanks, Casey.
Yeah.
Up next is Mr. Chris Folayan from San Francisco, who will introduce us to Mall for Africa.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Sissi. So I'm not too sure how many of you have heard of Mall for Africa, but I'll tell you a little bit about what we do in a second. The biggest thing to note is we help companies sell their products into Africa. Now, how many of you have been to Africa?
Actually, a lot of people.
I love
That's
it.
good news.
Awesome. When you went to Africa back home or to visit, how many of you were told to bring stuff over? Like people said, hey, can you bring something over? Perfect. Now, our platform was set up because I had that same experience. I'm from Nigeria. I kept on going back home, and my brother, family, and neighbors, cousins, brothers, sisters, friends, son, you know, that long relationship that you don't know. They started saying, hey, can you bring this back for me? Can you bring this back for me? Because the stores did not sell to Nigeria, which is a country many people run away from because of fraud and stuff. But, you know, what it is. So, but that's what Mall for Africa is all about. It's about helping companies. So you can tell. So what we've done is we've created a platform to help companies sell their products into Africa and emerging markets. We started with Mall for Africa because obviously I'm Nigerian and I wanted to start a company up in Nigeria, but we've extended the platform to other countries outside Africa, so that's why you see Mall for the World, which is something we just launched about a month and a half ago. So we started, we just opened our Dubai office, so we're in several African countries and in Dubai now, focused on the GCC. But I'll explain what Mall for Africa does to both consumers and retailers. So these are the problems that we fix. So anybody who has a retail store or wants to sell into Africa, the very first thing that goes through their mind is fraud. Then they think about, well, what am I going to do about local customer service? How am I going to make sure that my marketing is done right and my product gets to the right person? That's what you think about when you want to sell into Africa. That's what everybody thinks about. So the platform was set up to help people with that. So these are pretty much what we do for our customers, our merchants, what we do really, really well. So we take care of everything from logistics to payments. So if you want to buy something from Macy's, for example, Macy's is one of our biggest customers. So Macy's, over 150 years old, never sold a single product into the continent of Africa till we came along. And we basically had a call with the CEO one night and said, look, you need to look at Africa. It's a big continent, you know, things are moving there. Let's try and get you to sell some product there. And by the time he woke up, he had done a few $1,000s in sales. That's the power of Africa and the market that we have there and the power of our platform. But we help with logistics, payments, marketing, and so on and so forth for our customers, for our retailers. And for our customers, what we do is we give them access. So on our platform right now, there are over 200 stores, e-commerce stores. So from your Macy's to your Gap and Walmart and so on and so forth. Now people in Africa and other emerging markets can actually buy products from these stores. Without our platform, it's not possible. And you can think about also local currency being used. So in Kenya, there's a platform called M-Pesa, which some of you may have heard of. It's a mobile payment platform. So somebody in Kenya can buy something from Macy's or Nordstrom's with M-Pesa. Or somebody in Ghana can use shillings to buy something from Macy's or any of our 200 stores on our platform. So we're providing local payments, we're providing logistics, we're empowering people within different countries in Africa and emerging markets with the access and the ability to buy products that they could not have without our platform. That's pretty much what we do. So if you are thinking about selling into Africa or you're looking at Africa as a market, we pretty much are the biggest according to CNN. We have 8.5 billion items on our platform that people can access, and over 200 stores. So we know what sells, we know what doesn't sell, and if you want to tap into mostly the African continent and the GCC, which is the Middle East, so UAE, Oman, Jordan, Qatar, Bahrain. If you want to tap into those markets, please see me, and that's what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. So up next is Julien Crochet, Vice President of Sales at AB Tasty.
Hi, everyone. How many of you heard about AB Tasty? I heard about it. Oh, great. The name sounds in the US, but actually, if you can hear my accent, we are a French startup based here in Paris, 2-minute walk from here. What we do is that we help you improve user experience on your web and your mobile apps. Why you should improve user experience? It's because on the online or mobile shopping, it's really frustrating for retailers or brands to see that half of the people coming on your website are leaving immediately, so a huge bounce rate. Two-thirds of the people who had a product into the basket page, they are leaving the website without purchasing. The reason why, they have several reasons, but this is really frustrating. It's like having half of the people coming into your shop and then disappearing. So what our clients are doing with the A/B Tasty, I will show you some examples to illustrate what the brands are doing with A/B Tasty, and then just a few words about our technology. First, I don't know if you know them, Eaton, a big brand here in France. They have a basic question: should we change the visuals to see if it has an impact in the purchasing behavior? So they basically A/B test different versions of visuals. Should we have the head of the model? Should we don't have it? And by doing some A/B tests with our platform, they discovered that the right version make them having 15% more sales compared to the one on the right side. Another example, still in the same industry, I like it in conferences. Here we did with them an A/B test on the structure page. The question was, should we have a page with more horizontal information, so the visuals and then descriptions and then the add to basket, or should we focus on the visual in itself? That was a question in the team, and they did the A/B test with our platform and discovered that the right version made them increase in the sales by 11%. Another example of what you can do to improve user experience. Maison du Monde, a big furniture company here in France, they had a question about the mobile. They sell really expensive products, and they were wondering, can they improve conversion rate on the mobile version of their websites? And one of the reasons people were leaving, it was because of the purchasing provider. So they did a test on PayPal, which allowed them to do purchasing without you having to put your credit card when you're walking on the street. And by doing this A/B test, they discovered that they can increase the sales by 30% just by doing some experimentations on the payment provider on mobility. In addition to testing different versions of the structure of the website, what you can do with our platform is to personalize the user experience. So let me give you one example of Sephora. What do they do? Is when you come onto their website, we are looking at you, if we know you, if you come from a newsletter, if you have their VIP card or not. And based on this, we personalize the banner, sometimes the overlay of the page, and even sometimes the structure. And we display different message based on what we know from you. And by doing this, they increase their sales by 16% because they have a more targeted message to the right people. A last example, Photobox, a large provider in Europe about photos and mugs and everything you can personalize. Thanks to our technology, when you go on their website, the first homepage is completely different if they know you or if they don't, if you already purchased or not. And they use A/B testing to customize this homepage. So just a few words about us, and then we can go to the questions. So A/B testing, in one word, it's a leading European platform for personalization and A/B testing, launched in France 4 years ago. Now we are more than 100 people, and we have offices across Europe and now the US. And what do we do in one slide? It's an all-in-one platform helping you improve user experience. Understand how people interact with your website, your mobile apps, with heat maps, session recording, stuff like that. A/B testing, you have a feeling, you have an idea, make data decision based on the data and what you can test with us, and personalization to make sure you provide the perfect message to the perfect audience. Next slide, please. And that's it. And this is just an overview of the 450 brands using A/B testing. So if you go on their website, be sure we start to know you and we personalize the experience to make the experience perfect for you.
All right, thank you, Julien. Can we have a round of applause for the speakers? Thank you. All right, so now let's start a conversation, and we're going to get you guys involved, but first we'll start with Casey. Casey has worked for Ralph Lauren, where you actually introduced some new technology, right? And can you please share with us some of the problems that your technology, LuxLock, resolves in terms of problems for fashion brands?
Yeah, so is that on? Okay, so I started in a specialty store, much like a Harrods or a Bergdorf Goodman. It's called Mario's, and it's over on the West Coast in the States. And I saw that we weren't able to scale our business. You were only able to do as much business as you could personally manage with Word, Excel, and your cell phone. POS systems are built for transactions, not for clienteling. Clienteling software is not built with a great user interface, so sales associates don't use it. And I decided that it's time to go to New York, work for Ralph Lauren, see how they do it. They've got a great business. they didn't have any resources either when it came to internal technology. A lot of them had been there for, a decade or so. So I was able to get new technology into the organization, and we were experiencing 300% increases just from when buyers use the technology for wholesale. But it gave me such much a better idea of the amount of new data that I had that I could actually measure. And so working with assortment planners, concept design, working with buyers, working with store managers and helping them understand who their customer is on what product needs to go in. I put each of these pieces to make sure everybody in the organization, whether or not you're a Ralph Lauren or you work at a Mario's and have a specialty boutique, you can pull the reports that you need and they're digestible. It's done with the retail math in there. It's how we measure our business, and it's in the way that we need to digest it, to understand it, so it just turns into executables. So I'm really excited. I would actually probably go back to the other side of the industry if I had this software, so I'm really glad to make some of my friends happy. But it's a fun time. It's a fun time in retail. I know a lot of people are scared.
Definitely. Technology can be a little bit, intimidating. So we have to take it step by step. Chris, can you tell us more about Mall for Africa's partnership with eBay?
Yeah, so eBay basically was one of the stores that people in Africa really wanted because of the price points. You can find things that are cheap and find things that are really expensive at good deals. Africans generally love good deals.
Yes, I could agree.
Yeah. So it's pretty much a continent filled with people that want bargains and good deals. So eBay was the best partner for that. So what we've done so far is we've partnered with eBay, and now we have the exclusive license for eBay across the continent. So anything basically eBay related, we have that. So we're helping eBay sell into the continent or into Africa, and we have a mandate to expand eBay to every single African country by the end of next year. So if you want to buy something on eBay and you live in Africa, you'll be buying it through our platform. So it's a win-win. So it provides Africans with access, and it provides eBay with money, right?
Okay, that's a pretty exciting partnership. All right. So my next question is for AB Tasty. Your business model actually helps marketers and brands tailor user experience. So can you share with us the importance of personalization?
Sure. Let's take the example of a physical shop. When you come into a shop, especially in luxury industries, perfume industry and so on, when you come into the shop, you have the sales people come to you, ask you questions about who you are, what are you looking for, and then they help you choose. This is the first step of personalization. A few years ago, the websites were designed for everybody. With more personalization, brands, retailers, they can provide a tailored experience to help you be smooth on the web and go and find easily what you're looking for and not looking at everybody wants.
Right. And Casey, LuxLock is actually all about personalization. Can you elaborate on your business model a little bit more?
Yeah, so I've been in the e-commerce and digital marketing side here for probably like the last 8 years. And everybody uses that word personalization and relationship. My email address is not a relationship. So, really understanding personal is not 250,000 people. So I really wanted to bring in how do we get to a 1-to-1 ratio versus a 1-to-many? And how do you use AI to make this possible? Because AI everybody wants to do something with AI right now and replace people. We have some of the most talented people in the world that are amazing in this business, but they need support. So I think the question we need to be asking, if we're going to be talking about AI, who do we want it to replace or to give superpowers to? And so I know that when I was actually on the retail floor, in another life, everybody had a sales assistant. We had one named Kevin. So my AI is actually called Kevin. He knows everything. He knows who just walked in, who just had a wedding, where their tailoring is, if something just got mailed. And I think that's what we need to look at is, if you're gonna have an AI, like, what is the purpose and how does that person communicate? So all of our AI is learning from the talent, and it's learning about the relationship, and that's what it's cloning, to make each person kind of like a superhero.
Right, thank you for sharing. Next question is for Chris. Can you tell us what are some of the common mistakes fashion brands make when trying to tap into Africa or just catering to Africans in general?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, I did my homework a little bit.
I think the biggest mistake is marketing. Product knowledge and marketing. What products do you want to sell into Africa? What will work? What doesn't work? What styles work? Different African countries. It's different from country to country. You know, some are more revealing, some are less, based on religion, for example. So you need to be very cautious and very aware of, you know, the styles of clothes. Colors are very, very sensitive in different cultures. So knowing what kind of colors work, how much is being revealed in the clothing styles, all of these play a significant role that merchants don't really think about when selling into Africa, when they're thinking about their product lines. So I would say color, how much of the clothes is being revealed, or how revealing the article of clothing is, and the marketing. Many brands really have no idea how to market in Africa, and from country to country, and even in some African countries like Nigeria, from state to state, it's almost different. So, I mean, the northern states, how we market in the northern states, it's 100% different than how we market in the southern states. So it's not easy, but to get it right, you have to be pretty particular.
Yes, I like to say that there's not a fashion African market, there are African markets, right? And as you said, within the same country, there are so many differences. So I think it's really important for any type of brand, not just fashion, to be culturally aware before considering tapping into this market. The next question is for you, Julien. What is the most effective way to match consumer behavior consistently across all devices? Like, how do you make it a seamless experience between mobile and desktop?
Really good question, too.
I'm trying.
And really tricky for. There is not yet the perfect solution. The first goal is to get a kind of unique ID for each visitors. So years ago it was the IP. We know that it doesn't work because people change the IP when you're on the mobile, on the smartphone. So the first step usually is to find a way to get the user be signed on the website, and then we have a unique ID we can use to personalize the experience across the different interfaces. Now we are working more and more in what we call fingerprinting and footprint. So it's a lot of different elements we know about you, and we use them to guess that when you come back through another device, we are 90% sure that this is you. So we are not 100% sure, but we have the feeling this is you, and we should provide this experience.
So they're like digital footprints almost, yes. Right? So
everywhere.
Casey, can you also elaborate on that aspect?
Yeah, I think Amazon has proven that people are willing to share their data, and I think that you would be very surprised how much of your information is out there and available. And I think those digital footprints are very interesting because a lot of these algorithms or these journeys that people are master crafting, they're built based off of those experiences. And so I think the more of that and the more information we can get, we can craft those better to be actual service. But that's up to the consumer. You know, the shoppers have to feel comfortable providing that information and sharing. And I think we're kind of in this, if I share, I get advertised to. So I think that that's one of the constraints with the digital footprints, because as the advertising continues and the remarketing, it worries me that shoppers will pull back.
So let's discuss data a little furthermore. Chris, can you actually share with us the role that it plays, you know, at More for Africa, like data and machine learning and so on?
So we use data many ways. So if you guys all recall, over 200 stores on our platform. So with over 200 stores on our platform, it's not just one store collecting data. We're collecting data from all these stores and compressing it together and doing whatever we can to get the best information out of it to improve sales. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to sell more. So we utilize the data to try and figure out, okay, what's happening with the customer? What are they buying? What are they in tune to? So we've pretty much got it down to a science. We've been in this business for about 4.5, going to 5 years. So I'll give you an example. I can tell you if a lady is expecting a baby, because now I see that she's buying 0 to 3 months clothing. So if she's buying 0 to 3 months, she probably just had a baby or is expecting a baby. And then if she's buying maternity clothes, you know, we can connect the dots. So we utilize that to figure out, okay, what stores are having baby sales, you know, within that time period, or what stores are having maternity clothes sales. And then we send the information to the customer as an SMS. In Africa, SMS works way better than email, just so everybody knows. So we send that as an SMS, and we also send email blasts. But that's just one of many, over 200 examples that we have on our platform to specify, you know, what's happening with our customers in order to push products. And we've also noticed colors. We utilize colors, like what kind of colors do people like? And on our email campaigns, we switch it up. And if we've noticed a guy, for example, is always buying red shirts or red and blue, then his email will have mostly red and blue. So we do quite a bit to, you know, tweak the needle and sell more for our clients.
Definitely. And what is your biggest market in Africa in terms of sales?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Nigeria is and will always be.
Why do you think that is?
It's just the number of people. It's the largest, as far as largest country, human populations in Africa. You have middle class rising, so when middle class is rising, obviously sales are rising. You have the largest number of billionaires on the continent in Nigeria. So everything just looks really good. Internet penetration is massive. Cost of internet is coming down significantly. So now you have access to many people and most people. We also have the largest Facebook following account, and the list goes on and on as to why Nigeria. But they're just online, and they like being online, and almost everybody has 2 cell phones, and both cell phones have internet capability. So it's a country everybody should look at for sure.
All right, thank you for sharing. Julien, can you actually elaborate on machine learning as far as A/B testing?
Sure. Data, basically, it's our business. We help our clients based on data to identify where are the best segments to work on, the best agencies to work on automatically. So we have a team of data scientists working on algorithms that helps our client to take the right decision. We have algorithms that helps our client to identify the best segments. We are working on algorithms helping our client to identify where are the pain points on the websites. Why we work so hard on data is because it helps our client to save time and be sure on the decision they take. And the digital is moving so fast. Our business partner, the marketers who are using A/B testing, they want to move fast to follow the trend.
So data, as you can see, is such a buzzword these days, right? And it's very valuable for key industry players like the three of you. But can you actually share with us some of the limits of data? What are some of the things that you cannot measure, maybe that you wish you could? I'll give you a couple of seconds because that's a deep question, right?
I'll take it first.
Okay.
The feeling.
The feeling.
The feeling.
Emotions, right?
The emotion, the feeling. Not yet, at least.
Right.
And most of our clients, usually just by using their feeling, they have the right ideas. They
Right.
just want to be sure this is the right idea. And the data provide the information. Yes, this is the good idea, or not a good idea,
Right.
with this level of implications.
Okay. And Casey, what are your thoughts?
Hair color.
Hair color.
Yes, it's the one thing we have to ask. So I wish I knew the hair color automatically of all of our customers and for the brands.
So you think it would match a particular brand aesthetics, or?
I think it can depict really what your color palettes are going to be for a resort, making sure that you're balanced. It's one of the first questions when somebody says, hey, I'm looking for a dress for a holiday party. Mm-hmm. Great. What color hair do you have?
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's pretty cool.
So when you can't see somebody in person, how do you sell product?
True. Chris, do you have any thoughts on that?
Feeling it would be my first one.
Right.
And then the second one is just size. Shapes and sizes are always going to be a problem.
Right. Because you have a lot of returns in general when it comes to e-commerce, right? When it comes to sizing, it can be quite challenging to actually get the right fit.
To get the right fit. So
Right.
For us, our platform, it's interesting the way that works. So most people, once they get the item, if it doesn't fit, they generally would just give it to a friend or sell it to a friend.
That's such an interesting
That's
thing.
just,
Yeah.
it's an African thing,
Yeah.
I guess. But people will just sell it to a friend or give it to their friend if it doesn't fit. And then their friend will give them money or something will happen. And then they'll go buy a different size on our platform. But so we don't see a lot of returns. In fact, our returns are less than 1%.
That is so interesting.
Which
'cause
is-
it's the other way around in the West. It's actually a
Exactly.
lot of, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
less than 1% on our platform.
interesting.
But do all the sizes fit? When
Right.
the answer is absolutely not. So
Right.
I would say if there's some kind of data we can get it where the size you get fits the first time, that is something that would really revolutionize, I guess, e-commerce.
I think
that
this
kind of
this
data.
kind of takes us back to personalization, because especially if you speak about Africa or you consider tapping into African markets, plural, I think you have to do some sort of research around African body types, right? That are really different from region to region, from east to west, and so on. And I think that's definitely something fashion brands need to work on internally, because what we have in the West doesn't necessarily fit or apply to other continents or body types. So I think in terms of data, it could actually be interesting to be able to collect that. Yes, Casey?
I just want to chime in here is I feel that most shoppers buy the wrong size clothing in the first place. So whether or not they decide it fits or it doesn't fit, I think there's also this point of expertise that is missing to say it's the right size, give it a week, let the fabric relax. Or you need to go up a size so that it doesn't pull across the shoulders. And I think that we can talk about some sizing algorithms for some comps. But I think that expertise of are you wearing the right size?
I think I am today. I think so. Okay, so why don't we start with the Q&A? We're very excited to have you guys here, and hopefully you have some questions for us. Yes? Casey, do you mind sharing your microphone?
It's based on the sizing also. Which technologies would you think could be useful that are not used now for the sizing problems in the e-commerce?
So there's a lot of technologies out there. There's only one that I've seen that takes into consideration your muscle density, and it's a circle mat, and it pings an electrical charge through to your head, and it comes down and it'll say, these are your measurements. But I think even if you know your size, the samples and the brands changing factories or changing their designs or a new collection, they don't know at the end of the route what those measurements are to give to these companies. So I think it kind of all comes back down to, are the brands even using a PLM system, or do they have this information accessible to give to these new technologies? So it's going to be, I think it's still going to be a while, you know, unless it's embedded into the brands, like a pure play, if there's a company that's making clothing with the technology.
Right, and I think it's also one of the reasons why we're seeing a rise of the custom-made trend. You know, people like to have their own stuff designed, like they'll source some fabric and get their own, you know, wardrobe design, you know, custom-made. And going back to Africa, it's actually part of the culture. People do that all the time. They'll travel overseas and buy all type of fabrics, right, and go back home to their tailor. Actually, it's pretty common for a family to have their assigned tailor, and they'll bring pictures or they'll source pictures online and say, hey, you know, I want something similar. And it's the same thing in China, though it's a more mature market when it comes to fashion and luxury, but people have a culture of designing their own clothes, you know, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how things, you know, evolve in terms of technology and better catering to shoppers.
Just one question. The mat that you were talking about, is it like 3D like scanning, or how does it work?
I don't know how it works.
Okay.
They're a bunch of smart people. It's an electrical charge that goes through because there are a lot of people who wear a size 27 jean, right? But we all look different in it. And that's because we all have different muscle tone. We have different density of our muscles. So just because it fits on me doesn't mean when I turn around in the mirror that I like what I see. So, so maybe another brand would look better. So I think as we move forward, what we are doing at LuxLock is in your profile, I'm analyzing all of your past purchase history. And then I'm understanding your wish list, your abandoned shopping carts, and we're having conversations, right? So I'm finding out, I know that if you're a size 40, if you're a size 42 in Prada, you're a size 44 in Dolce & Gabbana. If you're a size, I know these conversions, so we have a chart that I'm putting everything together for all the measurements that if you can wear this brand, you can wear this one. It's a start, you know? It's gonna come down to how much information we can get from the clothing manufacturers.
It's also about sizing. 3D samples maybe online, would that help? And is it cost efficient?
So I've seen some prototypes of 3D and in fact utilizing your cell phone to take a picture of you from a certain distance and getting your size. It's so inaccurate. It doesn't work right now. Maybe in the future it would work because from camera to camera, it's going to be different. And even those booths that you go into, there's some booths. I don't know if there are any in France, but in San Francisco, I know there are a few where you can go in and it's this machine that will just turn around and it will take a full scan of yours, of you, your body shape, your size, everything, and then provide you with the a sizing chart for a bunch of brands. That's the best I've seen, but that's not something that anybody has in any house or any home, so it's still not out there. There's only 2, I think, in San Francisco, and I've never heard of any others. But the only closest one would be the cell phone. You put a cell phone 5 feet or 6 feet away from you, and then it measures you. But that technology is really not there yet. Yeah, it's a huge challenge for the industry, I think.
Okay, we have one question there, and then we'll come to you.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. And as you have mentioned that, the e-commerce is now expanding, and in China it becomes like the mainstream channel for people to purchase fashion, purchase everything. But do you think it's going to be the main channel for for Europeans to purchase fashions? Is it going to be a trend for people? It's like Madame Golden has mentioned that now you are enhancing people's experience, online purchasing experience. So do you think it's going to be a trend that more and more people are going to buy things online? Is this going to be a main channel for people to buy things?
Really good question. I think at least it will continue to increase, and increase actually really fast in Asia. I was in Singapore and Thailand 2 weeks ago, and I was impressed to see how many times in Thailand people are spending on their smartphones 4 hours a day, looking at the screen, looking at creating content and products and news. In China, we have some clients selling in China, and they had the big boom of selling, and it's still increasing faster than everywhere. So for sure, for Asia, the main question would be the main channels. In China, Tmall or WeChat are so strong, and actually the brands, they cannot control the user experience of these platforms, which is a big problem for them.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So there's the difference between brick and mortar and online. The big difference is online, you don't have a resource problem or, I guess, a variety problem, right? Because online, for example, I'll go with the store you work for, RalphLauren.com, right? Online, they have all the polo shirts, all the colors, all the sizes. If you go to any Ralph Lauren store, you can't find the same selection as the website. So I think, everybody knows now that you can get better deals, better selections online. So people are just gravitating towards that. That's why in the US this year, there's an estimated 36,000 brick and mortar stores going to shut down. This year alone, 36,000. That's higher than any year, going back since they started counting, I guess. Just because the variety, selection, discounts, sales, speed in which you can get products online now is pretty much matches. And many stores have this whole free return policy also. So if you don't like it, you can return it really quick. So it's the same in the US as it is in Asia. So we're seeing that in Asia also.
Yes. Hi, thank you for your sharing. Mr. Folayan, I have 2 questions. I would like to know if you are only in the Nigeria, and I would like to know if you have competitor in Africa.
We are not just in Nigeria. We're in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda. We're moving into DRC. Botswana, Senegal, and South Africa this year. Senegal will be our first Francophone country. And then next year, we have, I think, 18 countries on the roadmap for next year. We don't have any competitor that does what we do as we do it, but I believe everybody has a competitor, no matter what your business is. So if you were to look at my competitor, I would say Jumia is a competitor because they sell products, but they have 250,000 items that they can sell to you, we have 8.5 billion items. So I was like, are they really my competitor? I don't know. But
All right, that's a nice way to end this panel. Did you guys learn anything today? Was it insightful? Yeah? Can you raise your hand if you learned something? Okay, I did learn a few things. Casey, did you learn anything today? Okay, well, thank you so much, guys, for coming today. Please get in touch with us on Twitter. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Have a great day. Bye-bye.